Good afternoon, students. Today we're going to talk about solving equations and inequalities, multi-step equations and inequalities. So first, get out your Cornell notes from Monday. We will be completing pages 3 and 4 in your Cornell notes. So go ahead and get those out, and then we're going to get started. All right, so our first equation is 32k minus 32 equals negative 5k minus 32. We'll refer back to the solving multi-step equations reference sheets that we gave you in class on Monday. Okay, so the first step says, are there parentheses? Well, there aren't any parentheses, so we're not going to distribute. Then it says to combine like terms. Well, if we look at each side of the equation, there's no like terms, so there's nothing to combine. Then the next one said are there variables on both sides? Well, there are variables on both sides, because if I look at my river, there's a variable here and a variable here. We can't have that. We have to have all of our variables moved to one side. So, you must move the variables first. Make sure you move your variables first, and you want to move the smallest variable. Okay, so move the variable first and move the smallest variable to the opposite side. So negative 5 is my smallest variable, so I'm going to move that one first. Okay, so remember the reason for our first step is because it's given to us. Now, the way we're going to move negative 5k is by doing the opposite. Okay, so it's a negative 5k, so we're going to make it a positive 5k. So we're going to add 5k to both sides. Okay, that's going to cross it out on this side, and then we're left with 37k minus 32 equals negative 32. Now we're just to a two-step equation. We're going to add 32 on both sides. That's going to cancel this out right here. And so then we're left with 37k equals 0. And now we're going to divide both sides by 37. So that's going to cancel that out right there. And then we're left with k equals 0, because 0 divided by 37 is 0. And that is our answer. Remember, the reason column is just telling me what you're doing, explaining your steps. So the first step was given to us because that's the problem. The next step we did is we add 5k on both sides. Then we added 32 to both sides. Then we divided by 37 on both sides, and then we got our answer. Let's look at the next equation we have. We have 64x plus 48 is less than or equal to negative 6x minus 22. So again, there's no parentheses, so we're not going to distribute. There's no like terms on each side, so we're not going to combine like terms. But there are variables on both sides. We have 64x on one side and negative 6x on the other side. So our first step is going to be to move the variables. Well, which one's my smallest variable? Negative 6x. So I'm going to add 6x to both sides. That's going to cancel out on this side, and I'm left with 70x plus 48 is less than or equal to negative 22. Now we're just to our basic two-step equation. So we're going to subtract 48 from both sides. That's going to cancel this out on this side, and so we're left with 70 is less than or equal to negative 70. Then we're going to divide by 70 on both sides. That cancels out right there. And we're left with x is less than or equal to negative 1. Now, in this case, we did not flip our inequality because we did not divide by a negative number. The 70 that we moved across the river was not negative, so we do not switch our inequality sign. You only switch if you're dividing or multiplying by a negative number. Okay. All right, number 3, we will do in class tomorrow. So now let's turn to page 4. So our next problem is 8 parentheses 1 plus 5x plus 5 equals 13 plus 5x. So our reason for that is it was given to us. That's our problem. Now, we're going to start with those steps again. The first step said, are there parentheses? Well, yes, there are. So we're going to distribute first. So we're going to distribute 8 to everything inside the parentheses. So we have 8 times 1, which gives us 8. 8 times 5x, which gives us 40x. And then the plus 5 equals 13 plus 5x. So we distributed 8 on both sides, to the parentheses. Sorry about that. Now, your next step is, are there like terms? So you look at each side of the equal sign. So we're going to look at this sign first. Are there like terms? Well, yes. There's 5 and 8. Those are like terms. So you're going to combine those. Then you look at the other side. Are there any like terms? No, so you just bring them down. So we combine and we get 40x, and then 8 plus 5 is 13, and then equals 13 plus 5x. So we combine like terms on the same side. Now, are there variables on both sides? Yes, there are. We have 40x here, and we have 5x here. So we need to move them to one side. Remember to move the smallest variable. So 5x is the smallest one, so we're going to move it to the other side. Since it is positive 5x, we're going to subtract 5x. Okay, so we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. That's going to cancel that out, and we're left with 35x plus 13 equals 13. Now we're down to just a two-step equation. So we're going to subtract 13 from both sides. That's going to cancel this out right here. And we're left with 35x equals 0. And now we're going to divide by 35 on both sides. That will cancel that out. And then we're left with x equals 0. So that is our answer. Okay. Notice that I'm just following that reference sheet that was given to you on Monday in class. So if you follow that reference sheet, you should not have any issues with solving equations or inequalities. Okay, let's look at the next one. The next question we have is 5 parentheses 2x plus 6 close parentheses equals -4 parentheses -5 minus 2x close parentheses plus 3x. So that is our given. Now, the first thing on our reference sheet said, are there parentheses? Yeah, there are two sets. So we're going to distribute on both sets. We're going to distribute the 5 to its parentheses, and then we're going to distribute the -4 to its parentheses. When we do that, we're going to get 10x plus 30 equals 20 plus 8x plus 3. So we distributed on both sides the 5 and the -4. Okay, so you can distribute more than once. And now we're going to combine our like terms. So we're going to look on this side. Are there any like terms? No, there aren't. So we're not going to combine. Then we're going to look at the other side. Are there like terms? Yeah, there's 8x plus 3x. So we're going to combine those. And that's going to give us 11x. Everything else stays the same. Now, are there variables on both sides? There are variables on both sides. We have 11x over here and we have 10x on this side. So we need to move the variables to one side. Again, remember to move the smallest variable. 10x is the smallest one. It's positive, so we're going to subtract 10x on both sides. That's going to cancel this out. And we are left with 30 equals 20 plus x. Remember, x and 1x are the same thing. Now we're just going to solve. We're going to subtract 20 from both sides. That's going to cancel that out, and we're left with 10 equals x. Again, you can rewrite that as x equals 10 if you'd like. Okay, and that is our answer. Alright, number 3 on this page we will do tomorrow in class as well. Okay, so make sure that you have an understanding of what we did. Again, I just followed the reference sheet that you were given on Tuesday. Make sure you have this for tomorrow, and have a wonderful night. See you then.